Airstream song, cruising to the campsite singing our song. Airstream song, we are the Airstream nerds.
This is Jeff from Airstream Nerds. I'm going to replace the power cord and the power assembly on the outside of our Airstream. I'm going to replace this one and the front one. And the reason being is, as you can see, or as everybody that has one of these Airstreams know, you have to put this in, turn it a half turn. The half turn, it's not really, to me it's not really secure. So you crank this little knob down, you're sitting here in the campground, whether it's raining or what have, it's late, you get this thing in there and you turn it and you lock it in, you crank this thing up so your power is safe. And then you have to reverse it when you're done, and when you start to loosening it up, it pops loose, and the whole thing to me is not a very secure connection. It tends to be a little warm sometimes. The connection, it doesn't lock in place, it just is in there. So what I bought is I bought the smart plug system. I got one for the front, one for the side here. This is the package that came together. Got the smart plug. I can use this on the existing cable, giving us basically two plugs. Comes in this zippered bag. So this is our power cord, the replacement power cord. You know, it's a regular, 30 amp plug. And then the big difference is, as you can see, there's no twist. So what it does is it plugs in just like anything else you'd plug in. Plugs in, and when you plug it all the way in, the little tabs catch. So you're plugged in, it locks. It's hard to do it when this is not solid. Then you squeeze in the tabs and you unplug it. No twisting, no knob to spin, no nothing. So it comes with a 30-foot cord. I guess it's 30-foot cord. Yeah, 30-foot cord. It comes with the outlet for the side of the building, or side of the camper. It has a weatherproof adapter, just a cover that keeps dust and everything to put on the cord when not in use. The zippered bag, which I guess is kind of handy. So I went out, and like I said, I bought a second one so I'd have in the front and the back of the camper. And even though this kit came with a connector that I can use the existing Airstream cord to create one of these cords, I decided instead to take the Airstream cord, the existing cord, and I'm going to put a female on it. So therefore we have an extension cord. We'll use our original cord as an extension cord. Should the time come where we need something longer than 30 foot, which is very rare, we'll have an extension cord. So I'm going to go ahead and install it. It's pretty much like my other video. We're going to take the existing stuff out. We're going to reinstall the power cables, screw it back in. Should be a fairly quick job. We just have to do it twice because we got one up the front too. Be right back. So first thing we're going to do, just like the TV outlet I did a little while ago, I'm going to pull these screws out. Now hopefully, like the other one, there's enough slack on this wire behind here. I've heard some stuff that say that spray foam locks it in place. It makes it hard to come off. So you do the 4 screws, it comes right out. So you have the gasket, your wire. Be careful messing around with the wire. The hole is sharp. We don't want to, cut the outer insulation. So we have the same thing. Now this is the back box like we had on the other one. If you watch the other video, this is the same back box that they used. So we're going to take that off, and again, we won't need to use it because the new one has a built-in safety cover. So to get this cover out of the way, just loosen the 2 screws up on the wire clamp, and essentially it's obviously going to stay on there until we take the wire loose, but you can't get to the wires without sliding that back. So you've got just like regular electric in your house, you got a ground, you got a white, and you got a black. Make sure your system is unplugged. Obviously it is. Make sure you do not have your front plugged in or anything like that, because it's not it'd be a little bit dangerous if this thing was hot. But I do think that there's an automatic switch that if this is hot, that one up front is cut off. So it's a safety thing, so you can't plug 230 amp into the trailer and blow everything up. But anyway, as far as the technical parts of it, don't listen to me. I'm not an expert on all the stuff inside of here, but just make sure that you don't have any juice on. Unscrew the 3 wires to hold them in. It's pretty simple. The old one comes off, back box comes off, gasket comes off. Just for kicks and grins, even though it's all going to get covered up again, just wiping off the lines. So here's my new cover. There's a screw in the middle that holds the box on. Take that off, gives you access to your plugs. So they're an Allen wrench. Allen wrench comes with the kit. Don't know what size. Might be in the manual, might not be. Instead of Phillips screw, like most of them are, these are Allen wrench. Loosen them up. It's going to be pretty easy to do because one is black, one is white, one is green. Green is always your ground. Black and white's obvious. I would guess that our Airstreams all have same color combination. Oops, that one came out. Otherwise, we have, a common, a ground, and a hot wire. It's a single phase, not dual phase electric. Okay. So the only thing we have to make sure is that when we're done, we can put this on. So it doesn't go through the front. It'll go in like that. So once your wire is on, again, make sure you have your gasket in place before you attach your wire. What we'll end up doing is we'll end up bending the wire down so we can get the wire to come out of one of the sides of the cover. So get my Allen wrench. Make sure when you do this, you are actually clamping your wire in, and you're connecting to the wire, not to the edge. Make sure you've got a solid connection. So what I'll do is I'll push them in, tighten them up, and then I'll do a visual to make sure. Oops. Again, careful with the wire up here. I just noticed I was rubbing against there. Alright, so my connections are tight. I'm going to look in here, and when you're looking in there, you want to make sure that you are clamped on copper. you're not clamped on insulation. So at this point, looks like the white I didn't quite get the white all the way in. It's clamped on there, but just for my peace of mind, I want to make sure that it's a good solid connection. The black and the ground. Make sure you don't use your super strength, but make sure it is tight, because electrical connections, they get hot. It's just like anything. When it gets hot, it expands. When it cools down, it contracts. And these, if they're not tight, they'll get loose fairly quickly. All right, so we got that on. Now we go back to our cover. So I'm looking at what kind of room I have in there, and you pretty much got a ton of room in this hole. So I'm going to fold it down that way to see if I can. Now this is some really stiff wire, so it looks like I may have to strip it back a little bit to get separation for that cover to go on. You can do this ahead of time, but I'm not going to go back, and I'm just going to cut the insulation back with some flush cutters. Make sure you don't score the insulation on the actual wires when you're doing this. If you decide to use a utility knife or something, that would be not good. But if you do, it's not a huge deal. Cut the wire off, strip it back a little bit, and do it over. So this way, I can separate the wires a little bit, push it back, and get this cover in here. Really is pretty simple. You don't need to be an electrician to do this. Just like changing an outlet in the house. Only you have to sit outside when it's 90 some degrees like it is now and do it. So if you make sure you get that thing on there good. Now don't freak out if your ground wire is exposed. It's not going to hurt anything, but you definitely don't want your other wires. Now I got it bent in like that, so you just got to kind of play with the angles. Just like in my other video, I'm going to reuse the original screws. I'm going to make sure that they're caught on the gasket material. And you only have this one gasket, so it's pretty simple. You can't really screw anything up. It's a nice thick plastic. There is no silicone sealant or any type of thing on these. Again, if you use your screw gun, make sure you're in the holes. You're just screwing to the outer shell. There's nothing behind it. You definitely don't want to strip it. So I'm just taking them close, just to keep down on my having to wrench with my wrist. So get them close with the screw gun. Use a regular I'm doing like a cross and diagonal just to keep even pressure. snug them down. Don't over snug them. Don't try to tighten them as tight as you can do them. You definitely need to have enough to where the gasket compresses, because that's what keeps the water out. As you can see, it's compressed there. You can see it start to squeeze out just a little bit. And there's our cover. Now I'm going to go get the plug and we're going to plug it in, see it work. So as you can see, no difference in the plugs, same plugs. One thing is the light, you lose out on your light, but I always use a surge protector anyway. So that's the same thing on the far end. Now, like I showed you before, we have just a simple plug in, they catch, you're in. So you're hooked up. It's that simple. Time to leave, press the two buttons in, you're unplugged. Super simple, much faster. I feel like it actually feels like you're snug. The springs on the inside here that catch the metal blades, they seem pretty stiff. Not too stiff that you can't do this easily. But that's it. So let me plug the other side in. I am not sure if we have a light on here or something like that. So as you can see, you have a blue light to show that you have power. Now it doesn't mean whether you have good power, bad power, or what have you, but it does show you have power. Another benefit is with the old cable, with the Airstream cable, when I plugged it into my outlet here I just had installed, I could not close the door. Now, because of this big T-hand, this the grip handle, now the door, I can actually close the door, which I feel better about. So like I said, this thing comes with a moisture protector, weatherproof cover, dust cover, whatever you want to call it. It's for the plug end. Essentially it just snaps on in place when not in use. Pretty cool, comes with it. Nice little strap. I guess you could tie it onto here so you don't lose it. Throw it in a drawer inside or whatever. So when not in use, keep it protected. Now I'm going to go up to the front and put the second one on. Be right back. So as you can see, we have this one up front. It was kind of an afterthought. I forgot after I ordered the first piece, so I had to go back and order this as well. Same as the other one. I'm going to take it apart now, pop this in, get back to you in a second. All right, all done. Don't panic when you open up the wall and it's pretty shallow in there. It does fit. It doesn't bump it out. I thought maybe it was going to push it out some, but it fit just perfect. Nice and solid. Literally, I did both of these, the front one and the back one, in about, I don't know, 10 minutes each. I was reading on the Airstream forums and other places that, I guess on other models, that there's a lot of foam insulation and stuff like that they get. Sometimes the cabling is really stuck in there, but this one came out just like the one in the back. Wires were loose, just regular insulation. It's real simple to do. Just exactly like the one in the back. The only difference is it's in the front. I really like the look of them. Obviously, I like the functionality of them. It seems like a much safer, much better connection, a much more reliable connection. I don't think I have to worry about any type of overheating of the plug or the socket like I've read. I give these, haven't used them yet, but I mean, they're just plugs. I've plugged them in and unplugged them. They work just fine. I would give these a very high recommendation. Again, installation was quick. They're a little pricey, but look how nice they look. They look really nice on the Airstream. So here's the front one. Now if you go back down the side, here's the back now, where also replaced the TV outlet. That's another video, link will be below. Much better look than what we had before. I really recommend this upgrade. This is Jeff from Airstream Nerds.